Hi guys, welcome back to the VRI. That's Vol's Random Race Invitational Tournament. I am Vol, as you know, and this is Game 2 of Pimpy vs Cha0s. Now, looks like Cha0s has rolled Orks, while Pimpy has rolled Necrons, so very interesting matchup, but I think it's going to favour FZ Cha0s, unfortunately for Pimpy. Necrons being a slight underdog to Orks also, and Pimpy not being extremely confident with Necrons, so he's going to have a hard road ahead of him. He's actually down one game, so this could be the decider, guys. If FZ Cha0s wins this, he'll be through to the round of 8. Now, Pimpy actually picked Outer Reaches as his map because he was the loser of the first game. So he's picked Outer Reaches, maybe a map that he's more comfortable on, and we'll see how he goes on it. Of course, the Orks have spawned down the bottom left corner while the Necrons at the bottom right. Looks like he sent out a couple of Slugger Boys who are ready to capture some of the outlying points. He's sent one over to the left-hand side of the map, the west, and one of them is heading towards the middle, probably heading over to Pimpy's territory right now. Pimpy himself has actually sent out some Scarabs to some of the outlying strategic points further out of the map, around the outer reaches, shall we say. And here we go. So Cha0s' Slugger Boys capturing the strategic point right in the center of the map. And in the meantime, Pimpy's Scarabs getting to work on some plasma generators. So what an exciting matchup this has been so far. The Cha0s vs Space Marine game, I really quite enjoyed that. Cha0s taking that one out, of course, as Space Marines. It looks like we've got a squad of Shooter Boys as well, intercepting the Scarabs. So Pimpy sending the Scarabs over here to try and decapture the point. So it'll be a question of whether these Scarabs can actually decapture the point before they get destroyed. It's going to be very close. Oh, well, very unfortunate for Pimpy there. He didn't quite manage to get in time, and Cha0s has actually secured that with a listening post now, sending his Shooter Boys over to the Necron territory and trying to get some aggressive momentum going, because if he allows the Necrons to really build up the game earlier on, it's going to be harder to stop them later. And as everybody knows, with Necrons, you've got to contain them to their side of the map and capture the rest of the map and really try and keep them boxed in before they break out and overwhelm you with very superior units in large numbers. So it looks like Pimpy's upgrading that obelisk over there. He's sending some Scarabs over to the top left and the northwestern side of the map. And Pimpy's got a few Necron warriors, not many of them at this point, but he's trying to break out of his territory here because Cha0s has actually boxed him in already with this listening post in his own side of the territory. We've even got a Big Mac actually taking down one of the obelisks at the top right. So looks like FZ Cha0s is being relentless here. So Pimpy's actually putting up a Gauss turret nearby to this point. That should be enough to stave off the Orks, but it's unfortunate he's having to invest in static defenses so early. It's going to be a struggle for him to really get into the game with all of these obelisks. He's still quite low on, the build speed. He's down to 15% at the moment in terms of his build speed economy buffed by obelisks. You guys know what I'm talking about. Looks like we've got a second squad of Necron warriors arriving. Off in the distance you can see the Big Mac making his way over, but looks like that listening post hasn't been completed there by FZ Cha0s, so Pimpy is going to be able to take it down by the looks, especially with that Gauss turret in the way. We've got the Big Mac getting stuck in with the boys, as it's called. And he's joined a squad of shooters, so FZ Cha0s deciding to stay at range from these Necron warriors and get some shots off, rather than engaging them close. Necron warriors are quite sturdy troops, and they're good all-round warriors at both shooting and close combat, so that makes them a tough group of units to deal with. We've got a Necron Lord out now. Here he is showing up now, just behind the shooters, so he's getting engaged. FZ Cha0s teleporting up to the ridge there. He's on top of the cliff. That's a nice teleport. I like that. Allows him to shoot from range without being engaged in close combat until the Necron Lord makes it over there, of course. And teleports over, so Pimpy sees this, gets straight into combat with the Orks. As you can see, impaling one of the Shooter Boys on his staff. Very violent and brutal there. So maybe with this Necron Lord, Pimpy will be able to make a bit of a comeback here, start getting back into the game in a serious way. Over in the distance there, we've got some Orks taking out that obelisk. So every obelisk that Pimpy decides to put up seems to be taken down. I'm not sure whether it was a wise choice of him to actually start putting obelisks up at the outer reaches at the top section of the map. Maybe he should have just slowly pushed out from where he was at the beginning. And waited for more forces to accumulate, but he's doing a decent job moving out here. He's got a couple of squads, that's two squads rather than one squad. Having to pin him with a Big Mac here, but I assume he should be able to take it down that Ork listening post on his side at the northeast there. FZ retreating, of course, with his shooter boys, but he's more dancing than retreating, I would say. He's always starting to shoot as soon as the Necron warriors stop chasing. And we've got an oops comment there by FZ Cha0s, accidentally moving his slugger boys in close proximity to that Necron warrior group and getting totally flayed and ravaged by those Gauss blasters, Gauss rifles. So mPYOo doing a decent job here, putting some pressure on FZ Cha0s, moving into his territory, taking out another squad of Orks by the looks. Not sure if he quite polished that one off, but he's in range of this relic now, so he should be able to take down this relic without too much trouble. These Necron warriors are packing a decent amount of punch. He's reinforced them fairly well. Over here you can see FZ Cha0s has put his pilot guns here, as well as a bunch of war banners, just protecting this central crossroads area of his side of the map, his territory. Looks like mPYOo has taken down that relic at listed post now, and he's caught between two groups of forces. On the one hand, you've got the shooter boys upgraded with some knobs there, as well as some dudes coming in from behind some sluggers. And looks like mPYOo's holding his ground so far, but he's definitely going to start taking casualties soon, because we've got the Big Mac in combat with the Necrons, as well as plenty of shooter boys and some knobs already. So mPYOo's actually starting to lose his hair. He's pulling out with his forces now. So wise choice there by mPYOo, actually teleporting out, recalling his Necron warriors back home. And in the meantime, I think his multitasking has been kept up fairly well. He's been taking his half of the map as well as he can. He's got the 6 o'clock critical objective going on. Now that Necron Lord is very low on health, so I'm a bit worried for him. Maybe if he gets a Forbidden Archive and upgrades for Phylactery to try and regen some of that health, that'd be great. But for now, he's actually forced to stay out of combat. But having said that, we've got Disruption Field upgraded for the Necron Warriors, so they're going to be a lot tougher and more powerful. It's just going to be a pain, because when FZ Cha0s pushes forward and forces a fight, mPYOo is not really going to have that option of committing his Necron Lord too heavily. If he does, he may lose that Lord, and it's going to cost him a whole swag of power to try and get him back into the battle. So FZ Cha0s, I think, it appears that he's still staying in control of this game to a large extent. mPYOo is still keeping it close, but committing his Necron Lord, so if FZ Cha0s is able to pick it off, that'll be good, but the Necron Lord retreating again. I think this is just a ploy to keep him back. As you can see, there's a Wraith there, but that Wraith did not last very long. The shooter boys managed to duff it over. Oh, it's back, so that Wraith has actually built itself back up off the battle, as Necrons often do. So, a nice little bit of luck there. Oh, and as you can see, speaking of getting back off the battle, Necron warriors are trying to revive themselves, but as soon as they do so, the shooter boys are popping them full of lead. Looks like we've got a level 2 post there from mPYOo, so that's going to be handy. Oh, he's used just then as a bit of a shot there, knocking down some Orks. Yeah, liking how this game is going. Actually, it's turning out to be quite an interesting one. It's not too one-sided so far, but I've got to say that the Orks are looking slightly stronger. We'll see how things go once mPYOo gets a bit of tech happening. And indeed, he is getting some tech happening. And there's the Forbidden Archive, so he may actually be having an ace up his sleeve in terms of some Necron Lord abilities. Got plenty of generators going down from FZ Cha0s. He's even capturing the... Oh, he's preventing the Scarabs from decapturing the 12 o'clock. He's going to start bashing these Scarabs with axes, and he did so successfully. He's managed to keep hold of that critical. Bear in mind, guys, that there's a timer counting down for not the critical objectives to take and hold, but for the strategic control area victory. So that means that FZ Cha0s actually has more than 66% of the the strategic points of the map at this point. Oh, and Necron Lord using the Chronometron, or whatever you call that ability, to slow down the Orks a little bit here. So that's nice. Orks retreating right now. He's lost a few dudes there too, so the relentless Necron advance is beginning. We've got a disruption field on them, as I pointed out earlier. So they're probably going to be able to steamroll over this listening post in the center. And it's going to remain to be seen what FZ Cha0s has sort of stopped this. Looks like he's got a few forces built up, and in fact, I think that's a squad of knobs. So FZ Cha0s has actually teched up a little bit here, and he's got a hard squad of knobs there. A decent combat unit, quite a durable unit too. And he's starting to get stuck in. Still worried for that Necron Lord there. He's really low on hit points. I think mPYOo's micromanagement is good enough for him to be able to stay out, but remember, he's only got a certain number of teleports that he can use. I'm sure that mPYOo's always keeping one up his sleeve, just in case. And Necron warriors, again, in too far into FZ Cha0s territory, so he's recalled them back. By the sounds, we've got both both victory counters counted down. FC Cha0s has actually got the take and hold counter